NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Ladies and gentlemen, let the attack begin.
What are you doing here?
Testing for radioactivity.
Radioactivity? What is this radioactivity?
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back. It is Dorf on Sports. I am Andy Dorf on Sports. He's Brad Hanna from GlobalSportsBroadcastingNetwork.com.
Good morning.
Fred Wallen in Los Angeles, California, and we are now going to hook up with David Yorke from Umpires Media Incorporated. We got to speak with him last week for the first time. This is going to be a usual thing, a regular thing, so make it an appointment for yourself to learn about the game of baseball via David Yorke right here around 9:30 every Tuesday morning here on Dorf on Sports. Good morning, David. How are you, brother?
Good morning. How are you?
No complaints, man. Another day in paradise. We're talking sports. We're sweating. It's Arizona in the summer, man. I can't really think of anything different than sweating my tail off in Arizona during the summer.
Well, let's hope that we don't sweat our tails off on the diamond, and everybody, especially all the umpires, walk away without getting a bat in the face or anything like that.
True. Go ahead, Brad.
Hey, this is Brad. Hey, last week I wanted to get a question in, and we just ran out of time. It was just great talk. Thank you, actually. Talk about the strike zone this year. It just appears to be wider. The low strike is being called a lot more. Even, what we're seeing more and more is more the pitchers throwing on the outside or inside and getting those calls that seem to be out of the strike zone. What's going on, if there's anything going on, or what as an umpire yourself, has things changed a little bit? Are we getting back to that knee up to your, shoulder, armpit area of strike zone?
Well, let's go back historically, and generally speaking, the strike zone goes from the midpoint between the chest, the armpits, and the top of the knees. Now, a lot of people will be looking at that square that's in the cutout on the TV screen, and that square never moves. And, of course, we know the pitch goes through the square in real life. It passes through and sometimes out and back in. Now, when I mean that square doesn't move, imagine yourself standing up and taking a swing. From the catcher's point of view and the umpire's point of view, we don't move. Certainly our eyes will move a little bit, and the catcher will try and move to cover off what potentially would be a wild pitch. But generally speaking, we don't move. The catcher will move his glove to catch the ball. But the batter moves. So the next time you people are watching the game, and all of your listeners are watching the game, remember the batter is setting himself up, and I'm talking Major League batters here. Of course, all batters do it. But they're setting themselves up, so they're moving. They're stepping into the pitch. They are generally lowering their strike zone, And so when you look at the pitch coming through on that square, that doesn't move. But the batter does move. So no, nothing has changed. The umpires have not been ordered by their supervisors or Major League Baseball. And it's just another thing that people are bitching about. Sometimes the pitchers are bitching about that the leather has changed on the gloves. I know that Marcus Stroman, and particularly Aaron Sanchez here in Toronto, are concerned about the blisters that are occurring. There's always been blisters. Always. So nothing has changed.
Now, tell me, when a guy's throwing 99, the ball is exploding, rising through the strike zone, how does an umpire behind home plate register that? Like, how does he call that a strike, or how can he tell? Because it's moving. That ball can move.
It can move. And let's understand a little bit about the physics, too. The ball will move because of the seams. The seams act as an airfoil, just like a wing or an airfoil on a car. It will cause lift. So depending on how the pitcher is throwing that ball, and generally speaking, we're talking about the pitcher will put a split seam fastball with one finger between the seams, or a four-seamer. So they're covering the two fingers across two seams, and we call that a four-seamer. And that will affect how the ball rises or falls. Now, generally speaking, the ball doesn't rise much because they're pitching down, and they're also on a mound. So that mound is 18 inches. But the way they throw it, the way they release it from their fingertips, causes the ball to curve or move in and out.
That's interesting.
But how
It's all
does
physics.
but how does that sway your decision as an umpire calling balls and strikes? When you see it coming one way and then it moves, does it throw you off? Does it put you in a gray spot as an umpire?
Good question.
It sometimes does. It is a good question. Again, generally speaking, I'm going to tell you this. If you're a batter and you're treating you right, I'm treating you right, and generally with good respect for your team and your manager and so on, you got to get them to get them. So if you're consistently outside of the strike zone and then you come in close, I'm going to say the hell with that. You got to get them to get them.
Yeah.
So your first 3 or 4 pitches on a batter, particularly the first inning, first couple of batters, let's say on the inning, if you're hitting that zone, you're going to get my call. Now, we're not machines. We're not the Quest-X system, which is that square. This Quest-X system is generally 8, 9, 10 cameras, depending on the park. They're all pretty much the same.
Yep.
You have cameras down the line. You guys know about this. But those cameras are only looking at a static image. They're not looking at a real image.
Interesting stuff. That's the voice of David Yorke from Umpires Media Incorporated. Download the app. Fred, go ahead. Fire away.
We had David on Sports Overnight America last Friday night, Saturday morning his time, and the interesting question, it started off talking about a pop-up down the third baseline, but we sort of changed it to this. Line drive down the third baseline. Third baseman is behind the bag. He is inbounds. The ball is out of bounds. Andy and Brad, fair ball or foul ball? One more time. The third baseman is inbounds. He's behind the bag, and the ball is out of bounds, and he flicks his glove, touches the ball. Is it fair or foul? David's got the answer, but I'd love you guys to make guesses on this.
My guess is that the ball is, if it's foul in foul territory, the ump needs to decide that it's foul, and he has to see it clearly. I don't believe a body has to do anything with it. It's where the ball is. Foul ball.
Andy, what do you think?
Oh, Andy, actually, he's out of the studio.
Andy's out of the studio.
Yeah, he had to run into the producer's room real quick. So.
All right, David, explain that. It's the opposite of basketball. Talk about that.
It's a foul ball. It's where the ball is. Now, before the base, you'll notice, of course, that down the left field line and the right field line, we're talking 4 umpires, or if there's nobody on base, 3 umpires. Anything before the base is the plate umpire's call, and they can see it. They can see because they're looking straight down the line. If the ball is foul, but the infielder, the first baseman, or third baseman are clearly in fair territory, it's a foul ball, and that's the way it is. It is a little bit different. Let's tell you that we do have that up online on our Rules Explorer now, and I'm getting a little pushing. Why not? Because Andy's out in the producer's room.
I'm not out in the producer's room. I don't know what the heck Brad was talking about. That's the voice of David Yorke from Umpires Media Incorporated. Hey, that was interesting what you just said. Where can people find information about this?
On umpiresmedia.com/rules. That's the online app, or you can go to Google Play. It still will be on the App Store on iOS at the Baseball Rules Explorer. It's free now. In fact, I'm just at my post-production facility. We're adding up 100-plus more videos with all of the explanations and quizzes that you would want to know. And we're going to start charging for that next month. It will be $9.95. So download it now. It's free. It will be free for 12 months from the time you download it. But if you wait, if any people are out there waiting, it's going to cost you $10, $9.95.
So jump on it right now is what David's telling you.
Please do. And may I just get a little plug in? If there are some investors out there, please call me because it's expensive to get these things going. Our startup is really the first app at this kind of level of explanations in sports rules. And what we're really doing here, another little plug, is building a delivery system. Yes, I'm a producer and I've been a cameraman for way too many years, but I became an umpire literally to help my kids out over the years, but then became fascinated with it and went to the Jim Evans Professional Umpiring Academy and became really enthralled with it. It's a wonderful opportunity for me as a baseball nut to really get inside the game. And I know that you got a lot of sports fans out there, Andy and Fred and Brad. There's a lot of opportunity to get a little bit deeper into the knowledge. Why is this rule called? On Fred's show last week, somebody said I think one of your guests, Fred, suggested that there's a ground rule triple. There are no ground rule triples. There are ground rule doubles, and that's it. If the infielder or any fielder throws his or her glove or hat or whatever, detaches some equipment and throws it at the ball, you have to hit the ball. Otherwise, that's nothing.
Huh.
And if you hit the ball's still in play. And what we call that is an award. It's a three-base award. So imagine now if a ball's hit deep center field and the center fielder throws his glove up at the ball and hits it, stopping the ball from going over the fence, we award that as a four-base award because that would have been a home run in our judgment.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, you know what I was doing, just so you know, I did walk out of the room. Just so you do know, you were correct. Brad was right. But what I was doing is I was getting you extra time, David. So I was really doing something.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was moving things around so we could talk to you just a little bit longer. So give us a final plug for Umpires Media Incorporated, though.
Sure. Thank you. umpiresmedia.com/rules will get you the web app. If you want to download it to your phone or mobile device on an Android device, look for it in the Google Play Store at Baseball Rules Explorer. Coming soon to iOS and the iPads and iPhones and so on. And it's free right now. So we have over 180 video explanations. You can quiz yourself, you test yourself on baseball rules in general. And it's great for umpires, and we're hoping to get a lot of umpires signed up for certification. So any umpires out there, please get in touch with us. We have a testing and quiz facility built into our distribution network. So,
awesome stuff. Hey, David, as always, man, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week on Tuesday, brother.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
David Yorke from Umpires Media Incorporated joining us as he does each and every Tuesday. We'll be right back. He's Fred Wallen in L.A., Brad Hannon, the Dorf Man, right here in Phoenix, Arizona. And this is NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060.